wrist. Look at the flick of that 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 wrist. I woke up feeling like I was on the moon. I woke up feeling like I need 100 goons. Some niggas in my sleep trying to capture me.
Okay, well, my name is Asia, but I prefer Asia Stable with 2 T's. And he pretty much explained it all about what we do. We here to educate, inform, and entertain. And we on the college tour, and SEMO the first of the year. So we are recording. We're going to drop this episode on Sunday and just pretty much represent your school, because if y'all gonna get live, then get live. If not, everybody gonna see. So it's kind of just up to y'all how y'all want to do it.
Because I went to a high school where it was 80% black, 20% white, but it was a private high school, and it was, so it's kind of backwards. Like, wow, all these black people are paying to go to school. So, I went to Lutheran North.
I went to UC.
Shout out Lutheran North. 2012. 2012, we in the building. Anyway, but back to that, and I feel like this goes back to the victim as well. So, because going to a high school where it was 80% black and 20% white, I saw like white people in a completely different way, because they were like basically mixed in with us to the point where it was like we were all basically the same. Like, and it was so true, because I could have been late for class, but if my white friend Ethan was late to class, he was getting in some trouble too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were all on the same plateau. And so since, I was blessed to go to this school. So since I was like put on that same plateau, like when I went off to college, my perspective changed. But then I always knew that as an African American male, you absolutely right. Like, you could be a doctor, but they're gonna look at you like, say you got some nice clothes, nice car, like they say, they're gonna think you're a drug dealer or something. But you're a doctor. But you have to know that. You have to know. I don't know, man. I just feel like we play the victim sometimes, because I feel like there's some things as African Americans we just know. Like, as a black male, I know if I drive in certain neighborhoods that I don't want to say I'm not supposed to be in, but if I drive in certain neighborhoods that I know I'm gonna get harassed and I know something's gonna happen, I get pulled over. They be like, "Oh, what are you doing, sir?" And I'll be like, "Man, you just pulled me over because I'm black." No.
But that's kind of the truth, though. Right.
But check me.
I knew that.
You said
like, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
I knew that. I knew myself that. If you want to look, that's like driving too far. You know what I'm saying? If there's 30 going 40 miles an hour, like, nah, they ain't gonna pull me over.
I got to know better. Why you have to know better?
Right.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege.
It is. I disagree with Colby, because he always, absolutely. So, saying that black people play the victim, I don't think that we play the victim. We are the victim. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that I am going to have to disagree with you. But then I also want to piggyback off what you said. Like earlier, I just said I went to U City, and it was majority. Yeah, girl, she was in my class. So it was majority black people. But I feel it was white people that went there too, and I just feel like the white people there just understood more than white people that go to UCM with us. Because I feel like they went to black schools, and when you understand and you can see that, like a lot of my white friends like, oh my God, Mike Brown could have been such and such, such and such. Somebody you had a class with, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like white people that are surrounded by blacks and went to school with us, although they still had that privilege, they lived in different neighborhoods than us, they still understood. So I think it takes being around black people, going to school with them, to actually understand how privileged you really are. But no, you can have communication with them, and still, you can have a random conversation with somebody and they still not get it. It takes like really getting to know that person, like graduating with them, you know what I'm saying? But my guy Bruce got something to say, and I just want to hear what Bruce Lee got to say.
Okay, well, I stay in a white neighborhood. I moved to a white neighborhood, I have a nice house, and my mom. My experiences with that, since I moved, because I just stay in Berkeley and stuff, and so I moved to Central, so it's a whole different suburbs and stuff. So my mom, one day, somebody came to the door, whatever, and they thought she was house sitting.
She got the nanny.
So basically, it's like, and our house is like the biggest house in the cul-de-sac, so I guess, they kind of look at it as, like, we can't afford this house or something, like, we can't, black people can't own this house or something, like straight house sitting. And then another thing is, They do.
Yes, they
Sam, go ahead.
I could just go back piggybacking off of Bruce. Yeah, we used to live in Florissant, and then we moved to O'Fallon or whatever. And we went to this mall. It's in like St. Louis, but it's only like 15 minutes from where we live. And we're going to the mall, and she's like, "You guys live around here?" Like the person in the store, like, "Damn, yeah, we live around here, but you ain't gotta be like that." And then my brother is black, and he hangs with white people, and I'm just scared for him because what if he gets in a situation and the white people get off, and then he's getting the fault for that, you know? So that's kind of
a little disclaimer. Me and Colby just talked about this. Like, when we have conversations like this, a lot of people take it, like, or a group of black people, even some white people have conversations like this, people take it as white bashing. And that's not what we're doing, because not all white people are bad. Just like, not all black people are bad. So I just want to throw that out there. Like, we're not bashing anyone. It's just, you know what I'm saying, just like some of the struggles that we do go through. And that's why I want to know, that's why I asked the question, do black people have certain struggles? I mean, privileges. Because I feel like we do. Because if you hear some of their stories about how black people can be rude to them or make comments, it can kind of change your mind on things a little bit, make you look at it from their perspective. So
I feel like a lot of things I've seen have been embedded in some black people. That's why when you said black people play the victim a lot, I gotta partially agree, because a lot of times, like I said earlier, you're a product of your environment. So like, I come from a household where color wasn't a thing, and I did grow up in Florissant. So I didn't run into anything that I feel like I was racially profiled with until like a couple months ago. But up until then, I felt like, you know, I didn't understand other struggles because I never had to go through them. I didn't acknowledge them. I don't know if my parents like wanted to shield me from that, but like, not to say I live under a rock, but like, I feel like sometimes it's just embedded in a lot of black people that you are the victim, you're being treated this way because you're black. But sometimes you have to step aside and think for yourself, not what you've been told, but what you've been seeing. Because at the end of the day, like, no one was in my ear saying, you're being treated this way because you're black. But I made up my own mind like a couple months ago when I got somebody got me fucked up. And I was like, and like, I'm just not that type of person that you want to have fucked up. And I was like, why is it? And then like, that was the only thing. And then that's when I saw the other side of my black community. But at the end of the day, it starts early because somebody is in your ear saying, this is why this is happening. That's my opinion. But at the end of the day, I disagree with you, Mike.
Okay, and that's fine and dandy, but I'm telling you that.
I think it depends on the way you're brought up and the things that you have seen throughout your life.
I do product of your environment. That's how I feel, and that's my environment.
And I want to bring up a different point. Oh, were you gonna talk?
I was gonna say something real quick. I'm not gonna say that we play the victim, but then at the same time, we have to understand that we are the victim in a lot of situations. And I'm a product of a lot of things that's going on. I've lived in, you know, impoverished areas. I've been doing all of this. I went to bad neighborhoods, bad neighborhood schooling, everything like that. And being a product of my you know, situation, I've seen it. I've seen it, whether it was happening to me, I've seen it happen to my mother, I've seen it happen to my grandmother, to my aunt. I've been through welfare, you know, offices and everything like that. So it's the fact that, you know, we are the victim. But to counteract that, you don't have to always be the victim, but you got to understand that it is happening. But you got to make the best of it. You got to work hard, go to school, do what you got to do.
Go ahead, 1911, bro.
No, but I was going to say, off of what you said, I feel like as a black male in America, it's a lot of things that when you grow up, you're supposed to understand certain things. And so it's not necessarily that, okay, you understand that you're the victim. Like, you understand that you could be a possible victim of some crime, some violence, something of that nature. But in understanding something, that's when you can maneuver around certain things in order to prevent the things that happen to you. So when you sit there and you might say, oh, well, you know, they just killing us, you know, sometimes you have to understand that, well, could this situation have been avoided? And I know as a black male in America, I, you know what I'm saying, walk throughout my day doing things differently than I probably normally would, just because I know that you know, a little push on the pedal too fast this way, or a little move this fast this way in the aisle could, you know what I'm saying, have eyes on me, have me pulled over and things of that nature. So I feel like when people say, we are the victim, I say, okay, yes, we're the victim, but you can avoid the things that are cause us to be victimized.
Like, why do we have to put so much effort into avoiding these situations?
Yeah,
that's
because
that's what plays into this privilege aspect, because being a black man, being a black woman, you have to walk on eggshells to make sure that you're not being attacked or you're not being a victim, as they try to call it. And it's just like, you know, why do I have to do that? In America, we have to.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna agree with her. It's like, just because a situation can be avoided doesn't mean that you should have had to avoid it just to try and get away from it, you know?
But I mean, you're talking about 1,000 years of, okay, those are the wrong people, we're the right people. So you telling me through generations, you're supposed to change a generation of knowledge through a couple days, through a couple years, through a couple months, through 10 years, 20 years, when it's 500 to 600 years of beating into the heads that these black men are threats, or these black women are not as capable, and we are the most capable.
But you don't change you don't change your maneuvers. You try to do what we're doing. Give people understanding what's going on.
But if he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? I do think, like, I kind of agree with him on that, because I feel like if you know something, why do it? If you know driving in a certain area at nighttime, you know this is Black Boys Central. You know you're going to get pulled over. Why not take the back street, unless you want to be that example, unless you really just, you know. What if you got to go that way? But I'm just saying, but I feel like it's all up to that person if you decide to do it. If you decide to go a different route, I don't feel like that makes you less of a person than the person who do decide to go to it. Like, you got to pick and choose your battles. Not everything is worth fighting. Sometimes you got to take the L. If you do, you got to take the L.
Somebody's going to take it.
If you do, and it's going to be you. But sometimes acting like you got this can still result in something bad. That's what I'm saying. I think it's like we gotta start humbling ourselves a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta. Sometimes you just have to take the L, like I just said. Like you know.
Why is it that when she rides through Burlington Downs, it's because she's looking for her house or her friend's house. But when I ride through Burlington Downs, I'm scoping somebody's house out. I'm looking for drugs. I'm about to rob somebody. That's the issue. It should never be. It's not a concrete mindset. It's not the concrete mindset. It's the situations that we're put in. Like, I can't drive through this neighborhood without just driving. I gotta be up to something versus a white person who's driving through just so they can get home. Go ahead. No, I mean, like, come on. Lexi!
I've driven through predominantly black areas, and I've gotten stopped by cops wondering what I'm doing there when I was just going to visit, one of my friends. So, yeah, y'all go through things too, but when we step into your territory or your area, people look at us funny.
Like, why is this white girl here? What is she up to?
What's she on?
What girl she's running by? Right.
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to y'all, but it happens to us more frequently.
And I kind of want to switch gears a little bit, and it kind of goes back to we like to play the victim. But I forgot which one you guys were talking about, like the different, like African Americans get put in different neighborhoods, and we don't have this, and we don't have that, and like in different neighborhoods. But on that same token, as African Americans, we will let anybody come in our neighborhoods and take over. And I feel like, elaborate. We got the chop suey around the corner. We got the beauty supply up the street. We got the supermarket ran by the Arabs. We'll let anybody. Arabs. My bad. But I'm just saying, so we'll let anybody come in and take over our neighborhoods, but then we'll be like, and then we'll like try to have some type of high ego and like, oh my goodness, this is all happening in my neighborhood, and I have no control in here because you letting all these people come in and do what they want.
That would go back to just us not supporting black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna go to the black Chinese food place? Like, let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? Black people gonna complain about the prices being too high. We have a really, really big problem with supporting black businesses. I know, black nail techs, people like, her price is too high. I go right to the chicks, they $12, her fill is $18. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a problem with really seeing black people make some money. So that all goes back on us.
I wouldn't say that we got a problem with black people making money, and I don't say that we let people come into our neighborhood. I feel like if we could own those businesses, if we can actually own the land where the property is sitting, because it's not the person that is renting out the business. That Chinese person may not even own that building. They're just renting that for their business. It's about the landowner, the lot owner, who the person who has that business right there is paying rent to.
But do we have to put our money into that business?
Exactly.
To keep the lights on?
How do we do that if we don't have money to begin with?
We do. Black people spend $1 trillion a year. We have money.
We spend all our money and we take it out of our culture.
Out of our neighborhood.
Out of our neighborhood, out of our culture. We would much rather see somebody else come in.
You got that example? Come on.
Okay, time out. I worked at Ferguson Burger Bar. That's a black-owned business. Every time somebody came in, they were always asking hey, you gonna give me a deal or some food? Would you go to McDonald's across the street and ask them to give you a deal? No. They don't make sense.
I got an example. We could take Phil O'Neal and us. He came out with a whole brand of shoes that's for us, low price. And what do? We don't rock them because we rather rock Jordan. We rather rock Shaquille O'Neal. We got people trying to help us out. For a low, $40.
I don't know about the Shaq.
That's why problem. Hold on, that's another problem blacks have to deal with. If you're not wearing the Jordans, if you're wearing the Shaqs, you get made fun of. And that's black on black crime. So we can't shop less because we got to worry about somebody laughing at us. You know what I'm saying? That's just
Right. All this being said, here's how I'm perceiving this. I feel like most of these issues that we're speaking about are in our community. They're in our community. The problems are starting and festering up in the black community. So if we came together and quit all the bullshit, sorry, all the stuff, maybe other races would take us more seriously. So we're sitting here arguing about black-owned businesses, this and that. At the end of the day, what are we doing together as a whole? We can't blame other people for our problems all the time. We can't be the victim all the time. So once you solidify your foundation in your community, in your black community, maybe the rest of the world take us more seriously.
I would say that, listening to this part of the conversation, I don't disagree, but I think a lot of this has to do with class and access, not necessarily just race. Because I've lived in prominent areas with other black people. I've lived in, my wife being Hispanic, I've lived in some very desolate areas. I got 4 kids growing up in a world that's changing every single day. And I know that there's a lot of things that are going on. When my kids go to school, they're representing our family, they're representing their mom, they're representing a culture beyond just us. And I take pride in that. And we've had conversations on this campus about some of those things, but what I see happening is we have parents, for example, that I try to bring on our school board. Black parents in particular. My kids are going to private school too. I got to pay for the school. It's expensive, and I try to pull on other families. But what do I hear? I don't have the time. I don't have the dedication right now. This isn't going to work for me. I'm reaching out to other families and other community members saying, hey, we need a diverse board. I need to get all representation on this board because this is serious. This is God's work in this office, on this campus. And I see all these other students fighting amongst themselves, disagreeing and arguing, and I'm really, really committed to making sure that we move forward with this because we work with a program. I travel to D.C., I meet with other congressional leaders about the services that we provide here, and we're invested in this. We go to St. Louis, we visit the high schools, we go and see other students, we meet students and their families prior to them coming here, and this is a real calling. And I do think that it's an investment. I think it's an investment in education. But as we continue these conversations, how do you get that access? How do you change the culture? Part of this is done by education.
Okay, in my opinion, I don't think that we have time because we're too busy working. If we don't have money, not we as a whole, but a lot of families in public schools, they don't have enough money, obviously, because they're in public schools, to put them in private or do anything with their money, invest how they want to. So they can't just say, hey, I got to go to this PTO meeting or board, all that other stuff, because they don't have time. For real, they need to make money.
Everybody heard that. And why are black people lazy?
Black people lazy.
But why are they lazy?
Shady.
I
want to hear. Why are we lazy as F?
She doesn't cook.
I was just talking.
We is zoomed in now.
I mean, for real, do y'all really think black people lazy?
I do. Yeah, I want to hear from some of the males in the room. It's a lot of males.
There's a lot of dudes over here.
We want to hear what Shy got to say as black.
A lot of females sticking up, because as black males, man, we are a small minority.
But us queens stick together.
Niggas just lazy.
Turn the camera back there. What? Elaborate, please.
Why do you feel like you don't think so?
Lazy in which aspect, though?
It don't feel like doing nothing lazy.
You think they're lazy?
I mean, like in school and work, like are we just lazy in life? Like we just some lazy people. Like we just sit there.
Who wants to talk?
I understand why she said that. Well, she says black people are lazy. And the thing is, it's not necessarily that black people are lazy, but black people get content. It's like when black people are given something or an avenue, they fill the avenue, but don't go beyond it until there's another reason to break through. And like I was told when I was a freshman in college, I was told that when black men were first given the ability to go to universities and colleges and things of that nature, they wore suits to class every day. They had books and pencils. They always had study groups. That's how things like this and, you know, all other divine non-organizations were even established because they were given an avenue. And once you get that avenue, then people get content with those same things. And they get content with the things like, okay, we done education. Well, let's do music and art now because that's the easy stuff we do. And then they get stopped. Like, okay, now our women can't work, or now black people can't be the leads of churches or can't have businesses. Then they break through again. And some of them get a business, and somebody gets a church, and they sit there again. And then black people wait. And, oh, Mike Brown got killed. Now we need to fight for police rights, and now we need to fight for human rights, when human rights have always been an issue. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the contentness. It's not necessarily being lazy, but it's people get comfortable with having the bare minimum.
I think lazy is a characteristic of people, not of color. Thank you. Why you break it down into race.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
I agree with him. That's not to say, because like laziness can, like anybody can be lazy. Black people lazy, white people lazy. There's a lot of people that depend on food stamps just as well as you may not know, as many of them who do, but people depend on food stamps just as well. And I feel like it's good people, it's bad people, no matter what color you are. Because, you know what I'm saying, it's black people that are bad people. You know what I'm saying? It's black men that go kill other black men for no apparent reason. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like the black, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, black, or I feel like I agree with y'all saying blacks are the victim, because we are. It stems back to history, it stems back to everything.
I didn't say it.
I'm going to speak just because I feel like I'm a boy. Y'all want the males to speak.
We do. Some men are.
I'm a man. You know.
Go ahead.
But piggybacking off the whole lazy thing, I feel like lazy, it's a word that everybody want to use, you know what I'm saying, just because it's kind of like negative, but at the same time, it's like true. I feel like people kind of just settle, you know what I'm saying, where we are. We don't understand that, like, in the past, like, all our ancestors and all our past people did all this work for what we have now, and everybody kind of, like, content with this. Like, all right, we out of freedom, we ain't slaves no more, we free, but at the same time, we still not moving forward, you know what I'm saying? We're not getting better, we're not advancing. A lot of the successful people that are successful in this world are successful through time. Like, people don't understand, like everybody kind of like tired of struggling, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's lived through this struggle, everybody from like underprivileged homes, or if you're not from underprivileged homes, you live some kind of struggle in some kind of way.
Going back to what y'all said, okay, I'm majoring in middle school education, emphasis on language arts and social studies. Okay. So the reason why I bring that up is because, like, I feel like we need to start right there at the adolescent age, because when we get to high school, some of us already plugged out. Don't nobody really care about, you know, voting and stuff like that. It be too over our heads sometimes. I feel like if we start right there in the middle school, like when you growing up, you kind of got your own little idea of what you want to think and how you want to be and all like that. I feel like that's where it begins.
The whole president thing, that's a suggestion. We don't necessarily vote on the president. Because if you look at the popular election, we did not elect George Bush. They elected him. So our vote is a suggestion. Another thing, I think that laziness and content, they're directly correlated. My father always taught me, whenever you get content with something, you have become lazy. Like my dad, he doesn't sign. He doesn't. My dad, he works on the railroad, and he doesn't sign. He does the contracts. He doesn't sign long-term contracts because he doesn't want his salary to stay at $120,000. He wants it to keep increasing every year.
I know
So that's another thing. He doesn't sign those contracts because to keep going. My dad, he's trying to buy land and other things just to venture out because you don't want to just be content. That's the whole thing. Right, brother. Yes. And like it is we do have stereotypes and all of that. I mean, we have a bunch of stereotypes on ourselves and things like that. My dad, how I just told y'all all of this, my dad would have locked the doors if you walked by. My dad grew up on the south side of Chicago, and he would still lock the doors on you. My dad has seen just about everything that goes on in Chicago, would lock the doors on you. My dad also drives a gold minivan. But 2 seats. I just told y'all all of that because the thing is, black people focus on so much material things. What he does that to show me and my brothers that none of all that shit that we want, it does not matter. You know what I mean? Like we go to the mall and if we want like a $300 belt, he's like, it does not matter because where is this belt gonna be in a year? Are you still gonna want this belt? And then the thing is, all of us we buy all the Jordans and then we sell them for $100.
We want to thank everybody for coming out to the live audience at SEMO. It's been real. I'm Asian Say What with 2 T's, aka Miss LBRS. Make sure you click the hashtag.
And I'm OG Lil Colby, aka the People's Choice, and everybody stay real.
Real J-Dog. Look at the flick of their wrist. Look at the flick of their wrist. Look at the flick of their wrist. Look at the flick of their wrist.